Hello there, and welcome. Day 2 of our 5-day self-care tune-up. Just in time for the holidays, right? Just before we start to get pulled in 2 million different directions, and we've got zero energy for any of it. Definitely time for a little tune-up. So welcome, and I am so glad that you're here. Have you got your cup of tea? Got mine today. Always got my cup of tea. So what are we talking about today? Well, first of all, let me tell you who I am, right? I forgot that bit. You may want to know in case we haven't yet met. My name's Karen Del Maestro. I'm your health and transformation coach. I'm also a breast cancer and BRCA2 thriver. I specialize in helping you to stay on track with your healthy habits, even if you've never been able to in the past, right? I teach you how to stop putting your needs on the back burner so that you can actually start eating healthy and stay on track and not be on that constant diet roller coaster ride. Teach you how to take care of you, even when you're stressed, even when you're going through tough times. This is all part of what I teach you in my coaching programs. So today, we are talking about how to effortlessly make time for you daily. Now, I've been working in health and wellness for over 20 years at this point, and let me tell you, the number of excuses that I have heard for why we don't have time for ourselves, I've lost count. I've lost count of how many thousands of excuses I have heard. Because not only have I been a health and transformation coach for the past decade, prior to that, and some of you may not know this about me, I actually was a personal trainer working in a gym 40 hours a week. I was an athlete. I used to do biathlons in Central Park and all kinds of things before my life-altering car accident changed that career path and my purpose and my future, much like a breast cancer diagnosis does, right? It kind of halts you in your tracks where you get to say, okay, well, what does life look like now? So backtracking here to what are the stories that we tell ourselves? What do you tell yourself? Do you say there's not enough hours in the day? That's one I hear a lot. I hear all the time, Karen, I'm just too tired. I don't have the energy. And yet, if somebody asks you for a favor, you say yes immediately. So is it really the truth? You see, our human brain likes to play these tricks on us, where we come up with these stories. They're all based somewhere, often in childhood, often in just circumstantial. But we're telling ourselves these stories like, I don't have enough time, there's not enough hours in the day. And yet, how do some people manage to actively take care of themselves and some people don't? Well, I want you to know one really crucial thing. There's nothing wrong with you. Please let that sink in. There's nothing wrong with you. You simply have not yet learned the trick that I'm going to be sharing with you today. In fact, I'm sharing 2 tricks with you. Okay, so buckle up, get your pen and paper ready, and get ready. They're simple but life-altering tricks. Okay, that's the benefit of being around somebody that's been in the industry for so long. I know all the insider tips and tricks. I know what works. I know what doesn't work. And so much of the time we're spending our time, energy, and focus on things that don't work. So it's not that it's you, it's that the things you're doing just aren't working for you, even if they did 10, 20, 30 years ago. We change, our needs change, and what we want out of life changes, right? So, for those of you who are signed up for the self-care tune-up, you got your self-care tip of the day in your email this morning, which was to go outside and take 5 mindful breaths. And you might think, well, Karen, it's so easy. I'm breathing anyway. Why do I need to make time for breathing? Why do I need to separate that? Well, this is the thing. So often with self-care, little tiny steps can lead to very big shifts in our daily habit in the way that we start to prioritize our needs. But there's one thing about taking a breath first thing in the morning. And it's one thing that I learned while I was working in the gym a long time ago, was that when we make time first thing in the morning to focus on taking care of ourselves, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's breath work, maybe it's moving your body, going for a walk, reading a book, journaling, doesn't matter what it is. When you make time to take care of you first thing in the morning, the statistics are massively stacked in your favor that you'll be able to be more consistent with it. Why? There's less going on first thing in the morning. There's fewer distractions. There's fewer things pulling at us in a million different directions. Fewer things going wrong. Fewer fires to put out. Fewer calls to pick up. Fewer emails to respond to. Kind of makes sense, right? When we think of it that way. So think about what you can do first thing in the morning, even if, and this is why it can be effortless, sticking your head outside. It doesn't matter what temperature is. If it's cold, bundle up, put a hat on and a scarf on. You don't even need to go out completely. Take your morning coffee outside. It's even better. That connection to nature, that fresh air first thing in the morning. And remember this, that the air in our homes can be up to 500 times more toxic than the air outside. So it's actually really, really important for our lungs to get that fresh air first thing in the morning. So that's number one, is to make sure that you're doing something for you first thing in the morning. Steer away from picking up your phone. And this is something I struggle with. I'm always going to be completely honest with you. I struggle with this, right? My phone is my alarm. It's next to my bed. Now, I've heard so many times, move the phone away from the bed, put it in the bathroom, make it so you have to get up to go turn off the alarm. I haven't gone that far yet. I'll be completely honest with you, right? But how many of you, and let me know in the chat, pick up your phone first thing in the morning and start scrolling on social media? And before you know it, 15, 20 minutes has gone by at least, right? How many times has that happened to you? Isn't that time that you could be focusing on you? As soon as you pick up that device, whether it's a phone or an iPad, a laptop, whatever it is, your attention has gone from you to the outside world. We're already in comparison syndrome. We're already feeling bad about our life, comparing it to others, which are most of the time not realistic. But we're already taking away from ourselves first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning. So try hard to not do that. Like I said, it's something that I struggle with. I've definitely improved over the years. And so now I'll put like a meditation on my phone so that I'm meditating first thing in the morning. I will do breath work first thing in the morning, stretching. I also like to exercise first thing in the morning, whether it's just going for a walk outside or whether it's doing some exercise in my house or going for a swim, whatever it is. First thing in the morning, fewer excuses to not do it. Okay, so give that a shot. That is my number one tip. Now, the other thing, my second tip, to make sure that you are making time for you. Now, remember yesterday we talked about your why. What is it, your why, that you want to take better care of yourself? What is it? What is your why to help pull you when things get tough? Don't forget about that. That is going to help with this too. But the second tip here is to schedule your self-care. Schedule the time for you, whether it's reading a book, taking a walk, taking a bath, going to the gym, whatever it is, put that in your calendar. And you might be laughing at me now saying, Karen, that is the wackiest thing I've ever heard. Maybe, but I can tell you that it works. Let me tell you why. Do you schedule and put in your calendar doctor's appointments? Yeah. Dinner with friends, does it go into your calendar? Yeah. If you're babysitting for your grandkids, does it go in the calendar? Yeah. So would it be safe to assume that the important things that are a priority to you go in your calendar? You bet it would. So why are we not putting our time in the calendar? The message we're giving ourselves by not doing that is saying that we're not important. And yet we know if we want the energy to keep giving to others, right, then we've got to be topping up our teapot with self-care. It's the only way, because self-care includes what we eat, how we sleep, how we manage our stress, how we take care of ourselves. All of those things are part of self-care. So we're not doing any of those if we are not prioritizing ourselves. So you might prioritize, this is when I'm going to do my meal prep for the week. If healthy eating is important to you, it's going to help your energy. It's going to help lower inflammation. And that's a whole other topic for another day. So saying that there's not enough time in the day is one of the things that we tell ourselves, right? The other thing is, I'm just too tired. I'm just too tired. And especially if you're going to work and you're coming home and then you're saying, when I get home, I'm going to make dinner and then I'm going to go for a walk. And what happens? Come home from work or a day out or doing whatever you're doing during your day, being busy around the house, whatever it is, maybe it's doctor's appointments, whatever your day entails, gets to the end of the day, you've barely got energy to get dinner on the table. So it could be one of those, yep, I'll have a large cheese pizza, please. Could be one of those nights. What's the likelihood as you sit down on the couch that you're going to get up, pick up those sneakers that are staring at you from the corner, almost taunting you, saying, come on, we're supposed to go for a walk. But instead, you just pull the blanket up, put on Netflix, and start to binge watch your new favorite show. It doesn't work. This is why doing things earlier in the day before we hit that level of fatigue, especially after breast cancer treatment when we're already fatigued, we've got to get this in earlier in the day. Makes sense, right? When we look at it that way. It's the only way that we get to start to be consistent as we are building these new habits. Okay? So, and if you're struggling to think about putting this on your calendar, it can often be because we've lost our sense of identity. And what I mean by that is, as we go through different seasons in our life, or as we go through a trauma like breast cancer or any other trauma, we can often feel like we don't know who we are at this season of our life, right? Have you ever experienced that? I know I did, especially after breast cancer. I know that I have after every trauma. That's why I've developed a system to help me bounce back from all of those traumas. That's what I teach you in Thrivership School, my group coaching program. And we start with, who am I now? Who am I now at this season of my life? So that it becomes easier to make time for us. It becomes easier to know who we're scheduling and prioritizing that time for. I hope that makes sense. I hope it's landing for you. So, for instance, if we think about, for many of us throughout life, we've worn labels, right? We might be wife, we might be mom, we might be grandmom, we could be a teacher, we could be a sister, a daughter. We've worn these labels. And so our sense of identity is often linked to the labels that we've been wearing. How can it not be? But the thing is that outside of those labels, there's a beautiful, unique human being underneath that you perhaps have not yet had a chance and explore life with. She's incredible, I'll tell you that. She really, really is. She's funny. She's vibrant. She loves to talk and have deep conversation with people. She's in there. But in order to let her out, you've got to figure out who you are and start prioritizing what you want out of your life. And that means topping up your teapot with self-care so that you've got the energy to not only take care of everybody else, but yourself too. I can't want it for you more than you want it for you. And that's why I truly hope that as you're learning these tips, as we go through these 5 days, that you start to realize that you do deserve to take care of yourself. You do deserve to top up your teapot first. You do deserve to make time for yourself daily. And one of the other excuses that I hear is that I don't have enough time, meaning thinking that you need an hour for it to be worth it. Okay, so let me speak into that for a little bit, because that's a myth. It's a myth, basically, and I'm going to bust it, hit it from here out of the park, because it's just not true to start with, right? I think we think if we're going to exercise, it has to be for at least an hour. No, it doesn't. Studies have shown that 20 minutes of moving your body every day is beneficial for your heart, for your weight loss, for your mind, for anxiety, help with aches and pains, all of these things. 20 minutes of walking. On days you may have energy for 20 minutes, you may not. So do you do nothing? Or does 10 minutes help a little bit? 10 minutes helps a little bit. It's about the consistency, you see. It's about consistently just saying, hey, I'm going to do a little bit, and I'm going to do a little bit, and I'm going to do a little bit, and getting into that consistent habit of saying, I deserve to take care of me. So no, it doesn't need to be an hour. It is enough to start with a little bit. That's how we start moving forward. Because otherwise, if we're waiting for that magical hour to come along, you're going to be right where you are today, which is stuck, feeling paralyzed, wishing you had time for yourself, and never moving forward. Doesn't work. Because I've yet to see that 25th hour arrive in a day. It doesn't exist. There isn't that extra time. So make use of the time that you have, prioritize it differently, and make sure that you are scheduled and on the list. And the best thing is doing it first thing in the morning. Then you're not going through the day going, oh, I've got to go to the gym, or oh, I've got to move, or I've got to go food shopping, or I've got to breathe, and I've got to have a bath, and I've got to do. Oh my gosh, talk about exhausting. Where our mind goes, our energy flows. So imagine doing something first thing in the morning. There's none of that energy. That teapot isn't being drained as much throughout the day because you've already done something for you. If you get more in, bonus. It's that simple. It's that simple. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. Let me recap here as we, finish up today. How to effortlessly make time for you daily. We want to make sure that you're doing something first thing in the morning before you even pick up your cell phone. Super important. And number two, schedule in your calendar what is a priority to you. So if you cannot do something first thing in the morning, put a little half an hour in throughout the day for you to stretch, for you to walk, for you to do breath work, for you to read, for you to sit and have a cup of tea, for you to do these things that are easy to do. But schedule it, just because what you're doing is you're saying to yourself, hey, you matter. You made it to the calendar. All the important things are on the calendar. And that's where we need to be too. Everything gets scheduled on my calendar. You guys would be like, what, if you looked at my calendar? But it keeps me in check, especially since breast cancer. My mind does not function the same as it did before. Especially I take letrozole, so that's another thing. Menopause, all of the things, right, that have taken away some functions where before we may not have needed that assistance. It doesn't matter. Do what you need to do to support yourself and give yourself the help that you need. Whether it's Post-its, whether it's in your calendar, just make sure that you are telling yourself that this is a priority. Okay, so first thing in the morning, schedule on your calendar what is a priority to you. That's how we effortlessly make time for us every single day. And it doesn't matter how much time. Many of these simple tools that you get in your email every day are super quick and super easy. It's for this reason. Do not dismiss them as not being enough. Please, I urge you, they are enough. This is the path to starting a new consistent habit so that we start moving forward versus staying stuck and feeling paralyzed. Okay? Now, before we finish up today, I do just want to say tomorrow, day 3, really important day. Really, really important day, especially if you have received a breast cancer diagnosis, a genetic mutation diagnosis, or perhaps you're just really interested in lowering your risk of breast cancer. Any of those are reason for you to watch tomorrow. Do not miss it. Because as I was connecting the dots after my own breast cancer diagnosis, I came across something that is very, very, very rarely talked about that I think is crucially important. I know it is to me, and I know it has been to many of the women in my community in the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community. So tomorrow we're talking about the link, scientific link between the lack of self-care and breast cancer. So make sure you come back tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern time, tea time, right? And if you registered for the self-care tune-up, you will also get this in your replays. So have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching the replay, just put #replay. If you're watching in the groups, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. But that's how we effortlessly make time for us daily. Okay. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you tomorrow for what I believe is one of the most important days of the week. Okay. Bye for now.